大家好，我是 Olive Branch Allen. So 10 years ago, you might have heard of the word diabetes, but you're not sure what it is. Maybe 2 years ago, you haven't even heard of the word insulin resistance. But now you probably hear it all the time, and maybe even one of your family member has it. It has definitely grown at an exponential rate. Insulin resistance is really quite bad because it forms the basis for all other metabolic diseases that I have mentioned before. It's occurring at a younger and younger age, but there is something that you can do to prevent it. So researchers have found out that insulin resistance starts out in the muscles. So once it's in the muscles, it can then lead to a fatty liver. And at that point, your doctor probably would have told you already that you can't eat anything sugary and that you can't drink any more alcohol. If this continues, your fatty liver will then become insulin resistant, which is basically diabetes. At this point, you'll be put on a very strict diet and you'll probably be on medication for the rest of your shortened life. Insulin resistance, as the name suggests, is your body's adaptation to not reacting to insulin anymore. Well, why is it not reacting? Well, it's because you have too much of it now. Here's some quick biology now. So whenever you're eating a high carb meal, that glucose gets into your bloodstream, and that's when your pancreas creates insulin to shuttle all that blood sugar into your muscles and liver. Your liver holds roughly 70 grams of glucose, or roughly 2 glasses of grape juice. But when you're eating or drinking, it's most likely that your liver and muscles are not depleted of all sugar, and so you're really just adding it on and overflowing. Your muscles can hold up to 220 grams of glucose, and that really is dependent on how much muscle you do have. So that makes your muscles the primary source for any excess sugar consumption. But if you keep eating carbs and you don't exercise, then all that sugar that's coming into the muscle starts to create a mess. And so your muscles have to be forced to close the door. And that is how your body protects itself from excess sugar consumption. That's insulin resistance in the muscles. It is extremely difficult to spot at this stage, but this is why it's so important that you do a physical checkup and you keep doing it continuously so you can track your progress. And there are some indications that you might be able to pick up from it. You can refer back to our old column video on how to read a physical checkup report so you can understand the indicators that can lead to insulin resistance and to track your progress. Okay, so where does all the sugar go if your muscles have already started to shut the door? Well, it goes to your liver. That's the only place where it can process it now, and what happens is it becomes fat. It transforms it to fat droplets that stays in the liver, or some of it gets repackaged and gets stored in your big warehouse, which are your fat cells. This is the beginning of how your fat can start to make your liver fattier. If this continues to persist, then your liver will also become insulin resistant, and that's when your body will actually become diabetic. So the solution to insulin resistance is actually quite simple but hard to do, and that is to eat less carbs, and I know we all love carbs, and also to exercise more. Refer to my plethora of videos that I've done on this subject. The doctors and scientists have already figured this one out. Just even doing one session of exercise after a high carb meal will allow the glucose back into the muscles instead of being formed into fat and causing this downward spiral of events. If you want to know how best to exercise, then you can refer back to my earlier videos on high intensity training. Or if you want to learn how to exercise in the comfort of your own home, or if you're in quarantine, you can also refer back to my column videos. Lastly, I do want to state that I'm not a doctor and that this is a video for informational purposes only. If you do have any symptoms or conditions, you should seek a medical professional immediately. That's it, guys. I hope you found that useful. As always, please leave any questions or comments below, and I'll see you next time.